It's a new year, 2024. Happy New Year. But I'm out here in our shop working on our Triumph TR6 today. I had a few minutes between things, so I wanted to come out here and get some stuff done on this car. Jesse bought this car 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. It's a pretty nice little car. It's a nice little driver. But we're trying to tidy up some of the weird things the previous owner did. And what I'm working on today is the windshield. So windshield's fine, the frame's fine. But he replaced the gasket that goes underneath the windshield, the windshield to body gasket, and he did not do it right. Now there's lots of entries on the internet, lots of forum entries on how to do this job. And a lot of them call for putting like, well, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a gooey rubbery stuff you use on windows. And then he put spray foam. I don't know what the thought was there. So the windshield wasn't sitting all the way down, so we weren't getting like a clean line on the front. And then of course you could tell that the inside gasket was not, the inside of the gasket wasn't sitting right. So we took it off thinking it'd be an easy job to just, you know, reseat the gasket. Because it literally, there's an inside edge here, and you could see that it was underneath the windshield, so it wasn't gonna seal right. But yeah, once we got it off, we discovered all that gluey stuff in there and had to clean it, and it was a big job. We could have just ordered a new gasket, but honestly, the time of year it was, here at the holidays, we figured it was probably a little easier and quicker just to clean the gasket, so I went in and did that yesterday. And it cleaned up really well, actually. I mean, getting the foam off was the hardest part, but butyl tape, that's I think what it's called. But so I wanted to show you the proper way of putting these gaskets on. So move my camera around here. So what you want to do is use a cord. So there's a channel that goes in on this gasket. So it's kind of a U shape, loops. One edge goes on the outside of the windshield, and then one's going to go on the back edge of the windshield. Let me see, you might be able to see it kind of here. You can see it kind of loops under the windshield, and then it comes up this other side. So what I'm guessing is he probably thought using that rubbery, gooey stuff would allow him to glue the gasket on, but that did not work at all. So this edge had just rolled, and I mean, you can still see there's like a crease right here where it was sitting on it, and then this here was all stretched out really hard where these tabs go. But I mean, I think it's gonna work. It was a brand new gasket. But so instead of trying to glue this on before you put it on the windshield, what you wanna do is I just used wire, just copper wire that's, you know, electrical wire. You can get like string or cord that they use for windshields, but this will work just fine because you're literally just trying to get the gasket up over this edge and inside the car. And then on the outside, you want to do the same thing, but not with the edge of the gasket going to the windshield. That edge you can pre-seat because it kind of has like a binding in it that holds it on there. You do have to kind of stretch it as you move it on. But what you want to do is put your cord underneath it where it meets with the body. That way you can pull this outside edge that's right here, that's going to seat on the body. You can pull it out because if you don't, you're never going to get this windshield all the way down flat. So you're not going to get a good seal, and you're also going to get a weird line in the front because that gasket, it's there to seal, but it rubs over time, and so it leaves a little groove in the paint. So you want to make sure you're getting your gasket out over that. A, it looks nice, and B, make sure you get a good seal. So then here on the inside, right, you would just start here. I already started it so that I could kind of get the windshield clamped in here. So you want to start tightening on one side and get this windshield somewhat snug, and then you start pulling that cord out. Now, this isn't all the way down yet, so as I work it down, I'll have to use my sponger tool, my little orange sponger right there. It's a plastic sponger tool. I'll use it to kind of push this gasket up so I can get a nice clean edge right here. If it's not perfect, it's probably not the end of the world. You don't really see it because it's kind of hidden by the dash cap, but biggest thing is making sure we get this gasket out from underneath the windshield and then get a nice clean edge all the way. Another little trick is when you get to these tabs, so you got to pre-install the gasket obviously, right? But you don't put this edge up yet. But so when you get to these tabs, don't go under them because then it won't be able to come up. So you want to go over. So your tab is going to come in where the bottom edge of the tab is touching the bottom edge of the gasket, and then your cord is going to go over the top so that when it pulls out, you can squeeze in behind this, or through this gap right here between the gasket and the windshield. Now you'll have a weird little, it'll look kind of strange, that little gap will be kind of floppity, but you're going to have these tabs that are going to go in there to help hold the windshield down. I haven't bolted it down yet. I was just testing to make sure that I was lined up, relatively close. Doesn't need to be perfect, but close enough that I can then get my tab to go on there. Unfortunately, we scratched our vent right here, our defroster vent, when we pulled it out. But I have some black touch-up paint that is for British cars trim, and so it matches really, really well. So I'll just have to touch that up. But be careful. I mean, these are kind of tricky to get out. I probably would have, if I were doing it again, I probably would have pulled that out before we pulled it. But I don't know if you can do it with the dash in. But here, I'll go ahead and pull some of this cord so you can see. So I have, like I said, I have one side snug down. I don't have the other side all the way tightened down yet. Well, I mean, it's not tightened down all the way, but I mean, I don't have this very snug at all. So I have a little bit of play, so I can wiggle it a little bit. But you want one side at least holding that gasket down, so when you pull it, you're getting it up on that edge. And you can see there, pops right past that tab, and then we're ready to move on to the next area. Not really that difficult of a job. The hardest part is getting the windshield back on the car after you've taken it off. It's really a two-man job to not bend the metal or scratch up the body. But so I'll go ahead and finish getting this pulled through, and then I'll get the windshield tightened almost all the way down. Not all the way, but close. I'll get these tabs bolted down, and then I'll do this outside cord so I can get that outside edge nice and lined up again. And then I'll have to put these gaskets back in. So one of these is the inside for the windshield, for the window, and then the other one is like the backside edge. This one glues on, this one clips on. So I'll get those put back on, and then the previous owner had adjusted the top mechanism to line up with the windshield sitting higher, and so it wouldn't go all the way. It was hard to get it in, to just get it to where you could clamp the screen down. Convertible top, my bad. So I'll have to adjust that a little bit. There's a few adjustment bolts that you can do to try to get that so that it seats closer. You want some tension on it so that it's easy to take off, but it wasn't dropping in all the way into the holes or lining up correctly. So we'll fix that. And then we've got a few other little things under the hood to button up. And then I think this car will be ready for daily driving again. It's a nice little car the way it is, but we want to make it nicer. We try to leave them better than we found them. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get this job done, and then I'll post an update, maybe on the site, if not on the site on YouTube. So be sure to check back for the finished product on this project.